The Tortoise and the Hare.
Good day everyone, it's Grizzly's story time. Today we have a fantastic story with a great lesson for us all, and it's called The Tortoise and the Hare. The story is one of the best stories I have ever read. I'm sure all of you will have heard this story before. It's a great story with a great moral. So here we go. The Tortoise and the Hare. In the woods there lived a very slow tortoise and a very swift hare. The hare was a proud animal, fast and sleek, and aware of his speedy talents. It would take great delight in taunting the humble tortoise. One bright morning, the tortoise was plodding along at his usual pace. Suddenly, bounding past him was the hare. The hare leapt this way and that, frantically running circles around the patient tortoise. However, no matter how the hare might cross his path or try to trip him up, the tortoise calmly continued his stroll, undisturbed by the hare's antics. "Good morning, Mr. Hare," the tortoise said. "My goodness, you are moving quickly today." "Ha ha, that I am, tortoise," snapped the hare. "But I can't say the same for you. You're as slow as a sloth." "This is true, Mr. Hare. This is true," replied the tortoise. "You know, tortoise," said the hare mockingly, "I just saw a snail slithering along faster than you." "Perhaps you did, Mr. Hare, perhaps you did," said the tortoise, all the while slowly continuing along the path. "I am a very slow creature," said the tortoise, "but all the same, I would like to challenge you to a race." You challenge me to a race?" asked the hare. "Why, tortoise, I could have run a race in the time it took you to make that challenge. Ha!" And with that, the hare was seized with laughter. He laughed so hard that he fell over. The noisy laughter of the hare caught the attention of the other animals. "What's the commotion?" they asked. "This silly tortoise has challenged me to a race. Why, I'm sure to win," said the hare. "He is slow. I'll have time to spare." The animals agreed on a course for the race, and the fox was chosen to act as a judge. That night, the tortoise went to bed early to rest for the big day, but the hare stayed up late into the night, boasting far and wide of his upcoming victory. The next morning, the tortoise arose early and slowly made his way to the starting line. As it was time for the race to begin, the hare was only just waking up. "On your marks," growled the fox. "Get set." "Whoa, don't start without me," exclaimed the hare as he dashed to his place at the starting line. "Go," barked the fox, and the hare was off, leaving the tortoise behind in a cloud of dust. When the dust settled, the tortoise had only just cleared the starting line. "Aha!" laughed the hare. "I'll show that old tortoise. He should have known better than to think that he would beat me." Not long after the hare was out of sight, he began to grow weary. "I am so far ahead of that tortoise," thought the hare. "I think I'll take a little rest here until he comes along. That ought to show him how foolish he was to race me." The hare stretched out on a comfortable hammock and enjoyed a few tasty carrots. After he'd eaten his fill, he felt sleepy. "Well, I suppose there's no harm in taking a little nap," the hare said to himself, and with that he fell fast asleep. Meanwhile, the tortoise had been making slow but steady progress. He had been happily moving along one step at a time, enjoying the scenery of the course and greeting the other animals along the way. After quite some time, he came upon the sleeping hare. "Hello, friend owl. Hello, friend squirrel," said the tortoise quietly, so as not to wake up the hare. "It's a beautiful day, is it not?" "Yes, it is," chirped the squirrel. "Keep up the good work." "Thank you," replied the tortoise as he slowly moved along, enjoying the sun and the warm breeze. While the foolish hare slept, the tortoise continued to make his way patiently along the trail. Over hills and through the forest, the tortoise slowly plodded along. Hours passed as he crept past a brook, through a field, and walked along beside a pond. He could see the finishing line not far ahead of him. Still, the hare dozed away. When the sun began to grow low in the sky, a cool breeze blew, chilling the hare. At last he awoke. "Oh my," said the hare with a start. "How long have I been sleeping? The race! I must get back to the race." "You better hurry if you want to win," hooted the owl. "The tortoise passed here hours ago." The hare was surprised to hear that he'd been sleeping so long. "I'd better get moving," he said, and darted off in a panic. The hare scampered along and tripped and fell many times as he scrambled to make up for the time that he had lost to his long nap. The hare ran and ran. The hare went as fast as he could, but it was of no use, for as he went over the last hill, he could see the tortoise ahead of him, crossing the finishing line ever so slowly. "I declare the tortoise has beaten the hare," barked the fox. As the animals cheered and congratulated the tortoise, the hare came puffing out of breath and dragging himself along the trail. "How could you have beaten me?" said the hare. "You are so slow, and I am so fast." "That is right, Mr. Hare," said the tortoise. "I may be slow, but I am patient and steady, and I never stopped going. You see, my friend," said the tortoise with a smile, "slow and steady wins the race." That's the end of this story. Now, the moral of the story is that one can achieve success by doing things slowly and steadily, rather than by acting carelessly and hastily. Well, that's it for today. I hope you all enjoyed today's story. I certainly did. See you again soon. Bye! Good day, everyone. It's Grizzly's story time. Today I will tell you a great story, and it's called The Three Little Pigs. I'm sure most of you will have heard this story before. It really is a fantastic story. So let's begin. The Three Little Pigs. Once upon a time there was an old mother pig who had 3 little pigs and not enough food to feed them. So, when they were old enough, she sent them out into the world to seek their fortunes. The first little pig was very lazy. He didn't want to work at all, and he built a house out of straw. The second little pig worked a little bit harder, but he was somewhat lazy too, and he built his house out of sticks. Then they sang and danced and played together for the rest of the day. The third little pig worked hard all day and built his house with bricks. It was a sturdy house complete with a fine fireplace and a chimney. It looked like it could withstand the strongest of winds. The next day, a wolf happened to pass by the lane where the 3 little pigs lived, and he saw the straw house and he smelled the pig inside. He thought the pig would make a mighty fine meal, and his mouth began to water. So he knocked on the door and said, little pig, let me in, let me in." But the little pig saw the wolf's big paws through the keyhole, so he answered back, "No, not by the hairs on my chinny chin." The wolf showed his teeth and said, "Then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house down." So he huffed and he puffed and he blew the house down. The wolf opened his jaws very wide and bit down as hard as he could, but the first little pig escaped and ran away to hide in the second little pig's house. The wolf continued down the lane and he passed by the second house made of sticks, and he saw the house and he smelled the pigs inside, and his mouth began to water as he thought about the fine dinner that they would make. So he knocked on the door and said, little pigs, let me in, let me in." But the little pigs saw the wolf's pointy ears through the keyhole, so they answered back, No, not by the ears on our chinny chin. So the wolf showed his teeth and said, "Then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house down." So he huffed and he puffed and he blew the house down. The wolf was greedy and he tried to catch both pigs at once, but he was too greedy and got neither. His big jaws clamped down on nothing but hair, and the 2 little pigs scrambled away as fast as their little hooves would carry them. The wolf chased them down the lane, and he almost caught them, but they made it to the brick house and slammed the door closed before the wolf could catch them. The three little pigs were very frightened. They knew the wolf wanted to eat them, and that was very, very true. The wolf hadn't eaten all day, and he had worked up a large appetite chasing the pigs around, and now he could smell all three of them inside, and he knew that the three little pigs would make a lovely feast. So the wolf knocked on the door and said, little pigs, let me in, let me in." But the little pigs saw the wolf's narrow eyes through the keyhole, so they answered back, "No, no, no, not by the hairs on our chinny chin chin." So the wolf showed his teeth and said, "Then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house down." Well, he huffed and he puffed. He puffed and he huffed. And he huffed and huffed and he puffed and he puffed. But he could not blow the house down. At last he was so out of breath that he couldn't huff and he couldn't puff anymore. So he stopped to rest and thought a bit. But this was too much. The wolf danced about with rage and swore he would come down the chimney and eat up the little pigs for his supper. But while he was climbing on the roof, the little pigs made up a blazing fire and put on a big pot full of water to boil. Then, just as the wolf was coming down the chimney, the little pigs pulled off the lid and plop! In fell the wolf into the scalding water. So the little pig put on the cover again, boiled the wolf up, and the three little pigs ate him for their supper. What an end to the story that was. It all changed, didn't it? The moral of the story is that hard work and perseverance pays off in the end. If you work hard and work clever, this will usually bring you success. Well, I hope you all enjoyed today's story. Maybe you could check out all of my children's stories. Bye for now. Bye!